Ladies and gentlemen, she is back. Hello, fellow book nerds. This is Gabby, and today I have another review for you. I am gonna be reviewing Carrie Soto Is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this is a very exciting one. I've been waiting forever to read this. I had very mixed expectations, but I'm excited for this review. I try to dress as tennis as I could. I have a little thing. I mean, it's not Adidas, but still, got a little hat. I couldn't find my hat. That's just for, for tennis. So we're doing this instead. But Carrie Soto Is Back is the newest book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, who is the author of Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones and the Six. She is an icon. She is the moment, and she is the one and only Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this new book, I was cautiously optimistic. So my history of Taylor Jenkins Reid, I loved Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Did not like Daisy Jones and the Six. I like the story, I guess. I didn't like the writing style. I didn't like the interview format. Maybe I would have liked it if I listened to it on audiobook, but I didn't, so that's on me. And then I didn't read Malibu Rising because I think it was like connected to one of them, but it's been so long I didn't care. But she's back with Carrie Soto. I'm back with reviewing. And you know what? This book brought me back from an edge, the ledge of a reading slump. So we're here to talk about it. Carrie Soto Is Back. What is this about? So we follow Carrie Soto, who's now 40 years old or nearly 40. She was the best tennis player in the world. She was coached by her father since very young age to be a tennis player. She won like all of the big awards, smashed everything, and she has the record for the most Grand Slams won. She retired 5 years ago because she messed up her knee, so she had to kind of go away from the game, recover, and she decided that's it for her. She's not the best anymore. She's not going to participate, or she doesn't want to not be the best anymore. And now we open the book with her watching a game where a newish player is almost tying. It's one Grand Slam away from tying with her record, so the player could very easily break it in the next season. So Carrie Soto, who is the type of person who cannot be second best, decides to come back to tennis after 5 years in retirement at age 39, I think, and win again so that her record is secure. So that's kind of the basic setup of the book. We have a highly competitive main character trying to get back to the glory of her younger days and kind of replicate that success. So I'm gonna talk about writing, plot, characters, and theme as per usual. You can always skip around, and let's see what I thought. The writing of this book was absolutely exhilarating. I loved every moment of it. It was just so fast-paced and exciting and just unputdownable. It sucks you in and makes you want to read. And even if you don't care about tennis, you will be sucked into the games. You don't really need to know the rules of tennis. I know a little bit of about tennis because my boyfriend used to be a ball boy at Wimbledon. So I went to Wimbledon 1 year and I had a good time and I understand the basic rules of it. But I don't think you need to, because this book is just written so accessibly and you just understand the need to play, the tension, the points and all that. You really understand that even without really understanding, or it's not really that explained into how this is how tennis works. 1, 2, 3, let's go. No, it's more like the love of it and the passion of it. That's what driving you forward. And the writing was at its best. Again, I think the fact that this was from first person perspective just gave it this oomph that you just want to get in the story. You want to be there with Carrie and you feel like you are there with Carrie rather than it being like something that you read about from this like perspective that Daisy Jones had that I didn't like. So the plot, I cried. I did cry. It was just amazingly done, executed. I like how it was done. So we kind of start in the present, then kind of go back through time, understand where Carrie came from, understanding her relationship to tennis, her relationship with her dad, her upbringing, her career. You really get a feel for that. I thought it was done really well because it was done efficiently, and it only maybe takes about 30% of the book, I want to say, but you feel like everything you need to know, you know, everything is clear. You see how she progressed, you see how she became the person that she is. It's all very clear. It's not like you're wondering, like, how did we get here? You know, you see how we got here. I thought the book would be more like present, flashback, but I actually liked it more. I think that it was kind of flashback, or the past explained that. Now in the present, we're focusing on that because it's more about her journey of becoming the player and about her growing now rather than becoming the best tennis player in the world. But you get a glimpse of that, so that was really cool. And you just feel the love of the game. Like, I have no clue if Taylor Jenkins Reid has anything to do with tennis or the world of sports, but I felt the love of the game. I felt the passion. I felt the absolute desire to be the best, but also like be the best in the specific sport that she loves and her father loves. It was wonderful. I loved it. And yeah, I cried. It was sad, but it was also happy and joyous and beautiful and painful and heartbreaking. It was all the adjectives. I love it. Characters. I think this is the most interesting part of the book, and I think that's usually the most interesting part about Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, because they just have this amazing study of the characters, and I love that. So, Carrie Soto. Carrie Soto. Girl. I would say that she's an incredibly interesting main character. She is so deeply flawed. She wants to win at all costs. Win, win, win. Such a bad loser, always focused on the goal of becoming the best tennis player in the world and then staying the best player in the world. And I would quite frankly call her unlikable. I know that this phrase is maybe thrown at female characters, and that's definitely something of a commentary in the book itself on like likable female stars, athletes, actresses, characters, and how we always want female characters and women and famous women to be a certain way and be likable. And you have to be humble, and you have to be also the best, but you have to be humble about it. You have to be surprised about your success. You have to show this gratitude that you'll never be here without other people, that maybe necessarily male players, men in general, famous men, don't have to the extent. So I think that was definitely a commentary trying to be had in this book. And I think it succeeded really well. It was an interesting conversation. But Carrie is generally a kind of a nasty person when we meet her. So it's not just the fact that she's unlikable because she's ambitious or ruthless, but it's just how focused she is on winning and nothing else, and how that really gives her just such a narrow perspective on the world, but she grows so much. She has lots of trust issues and so many problems, but she really, really grows on you as a reader as you go and you explore why she's the way she is, how she wants to change, all the trauma that she brings with her, and all of that. And you really see her grow and develop into a well-rounded individual at the ripe age of 39. I'm joking. No, I just mean I like that it's not a teenager. It's a grown woman trying to find herself, discover herself, redefine herself now that she can't do the one thing that she's best at. I honestly loved her character so much. I think that everything that she's went through and all the conversations around her, I loved it. Really well done. Kudos for Carrie's character. Honestly, I think it was done so well. Now we have Javier Soto, who is the father. So I encourage Carrie to be the best from a young age. Her mother died really young, when she was really young, and she was like the love of the life for the father. So you kind of see how he brought it up by himself and how he instilled this love of tennis into her, but because he used to be a professional player too, but he had an injury, so he couldn't continue. I feel like he's, again, such an interesting character because you're really tempted to dislike him in the beginning, because all of these things he's teaching her and pushing her and telling her, they're good, but they push to such an extent, they're toxic. And you see this young kid struggling with all this pressure, or even not, and then you think this is gonna have repercussions because she just takes it way too seriously, and it's truly the product of her father's upbringing. But he's just such a deeply sympathetic character. I loved Javier. I think he's also changed as he's grown, and it's just beautiful to see him kind of realize his mistakes and try to like make Carrie's life better, make her happy, support her. I think that was really beautiful. And in the end, you know, he just tried his best with what he could do. And I loved that about his character, because I was like ready to hate this man, and now I'm here stunning him. So, you know, like, beautiful, beautiful. Last like specific character I wanted to talk about was Beau. So he's the love interest, and I think it's pretty unorthodox choice of a love interest. He's a recovering alcoholic. He is also a tennis player. He's in his 40s. I think he's 40, and he's also refusing to retire and keeps trying to come up and show up and win something and go back to his past glory. And it's interesting because they actually have a past, very brief one, which I didn't even clock at first. It was so interesting, but you kind of, through seeing his perspective as well, you never hear from him directly, but like the way he talks to Carrie and shares how he got certain things and stuff like that, you really see how closed off Carrie's viewpoint is and how her perspective's maybe not the most reliable. And I think he was flawed again as a character because he had so much to prove, and he wasn't like, you know, this good boy, charming, because he used to be a playboy, all that kind of stuff. But he's again so sympathetic. I loved him so much. I think he was so good for Carrie, and I loved how that developed. Overall, I just really appreciated seeing other tennis players as well. Nikki Chan is the player who is going to possibly break Carrie's record, and the one she has to kind of fight against. That rivalry I thought was interesting. It was really, really well done. It went so much deeper than anticipated. I don't know why. I shouldn't anticipate anything less than brilliance, but it was amazing, and I loved every character. All right, so now let's talk about themes. So definitely pressure to win is one of the themes, and I think also childhood prodigy and what struggles they might encounter and how that develops, how that impacts their future life at their adult self, how all of that plays together. Pressure, you know, of fame as well, once you get to that point, and all of that crap that comes with being famous, when maybe all you wanted to do was play the sport, you know, maybe all you wanted to do was make a good movie, but now you have all this pressure and people judging you and telling you what they think you should do with your life, which is a lot. And then also definitely the double standards, like I already said, like the pressure of being likable as a female athlete, a female star woman in general. But then also, yeah, the same things that men get away with. It's like well documented in tennis as well that, you know, a man will throw a tantrum and throw his racket and all of that and face no repercussions, but female players have to play and behave off and off stage to the highest possible moral standard, otherwise they're going to be villainized. And I think that's so interesting. Lastly, I found it really fun that it was set in the 80s and 90s, and I think that provided a way different perspective than maybe if it was done today, because I'm sure it was even more, all the misogyny and the sexism and racism as well came into it. All of that was even more rampant back then, so it's kind of like carving out this piece of history for yourself where everything's stacked against you, and I really, really like that. I thought that was done really well. Overall, I think this book was so interestingly timed because I'm pretty sure Serena Williams just played her last game before retirement, who is also such an icon, and I think really an inspiration for Carrie. Maybe not in a personality, but definitely the double standards, the adversities that she's faced and Carrie's faced, and the perception of, you know, like the super aggressive female player and what that means, and, you know, just striving for excellence and achieving it. I don't know. I thought that was really interesting timing of the book. I don't know if I'm assuming that was not timed, because does Taylor Jenkins Reid have like an insight on when Serena Williams will retire, or maybe this was like common knowledge? I don't know. If you can't tell, I loved the crap out of this book. It's passionate. It has such deeply well thought out characters, and it's a 5-star for me. I seriously felt like I was going to go into a reading slump. I read 4 books last month in August, so that's why there's no wrap up, because what am I going to talk about? And this book grabbed me and made me want to read it so bad and so quickly. And I just felt so passionate about reading it. I cried, I laughed, I felt like I learned something, and that's all you want. And this is similar how I felt with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, whereas this might even be more of my favorite. That made no sense. This might be my favorite over Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, so I was not expecting that whatsoever. But yeah, let me know, what did you think of Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo? I really hope you pick it up if you haven't, and I haven't spoiled too much. I think it's so worth reading, 100% so worth reading, especially if you're a perfectionist and strive to win, and you can identify with Carrie's personality, because I think you will get something valuable from this book. But anyway, well, let me know if you like this video. I filmed on my iPhone for the first time ever. I don't know, I feel like I wasn't looking quite in the camera. I'm just looking myself. It's a bit weird. But I didn't take my camera because it takes up way too much space. So let me know. Maybe you like it more, maybe you like it less. I hope the cat didn't annoy you. I washed my hair yesterday. I was going to film yesterday. And then I waited too long. And the sunset was just like blinding me. And I looked crap. And also, I thought that was such a look. It was like I'm a tennis player look. Anyway, let me know what you thought. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you could comment, like, and subscribe, I really, really appreciate it. It really helps me out. But that's it for me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!